Alright guys, let's just jump right into it. You've arrived at your destination. Your eyes need a moment to adjust to the new environment, which is illuminated by flickering fires. Your group enters a hall in which the ceiling is supported by 4 broad columns. The moment you step through the archway, a lump forms in your throat. There's something in the air that takes your breath away. The smell of death and decay. A bad breath. The origin of the latter is easy to make out. A big mob, armed with, what else? Torches and pitchforks, is waiting to welcome you on the other side of the hall. The blazing fire of the torches gives a tint of hellish nightmare to the whole scene. Only as you walk closer do you realize in the center of the hall there's an abyss extending into some unknown depths. So far your footsteps were the only sound echoing through the place. Now you can make out another sound. The faraway murmur of the sea. Yeah, let's see how to get out of here. You're still surrounded by your captors. The room in which you find yourself offers you only 3 escape options. First of all, of course, the corridor which you've just come. Without a torch or any other source of light, however, you won't be able to cover the dark route. You won't be able to cover the dark route without being impaled by some sharp rock. The innsmouth mob must have come here via a different path. Behind the gleeful looking horde facing you, you can make out a black gate. This path looks much less dangerous, but unfortunately there's a lot of dark figures in the way. Option number 3 gives you a queasy feeling in your stomach. It's a dark abyss in the middle of the room, which seems to float directly into the ocean. You keep on walking. Now let's look out for the others, see if they brought them here too or were separated. You search for familiar faces, but you can only make out the moronic grimaces of your kidnappers. Someone jostles you impatiently from the side, and you marched on towards the mob. It's eerily quiet. Under the watchful eyes of creepy creatures, you're being led onto a raised platform. You risk a look down into the abyss, to estimate its depth, but you can't see the bottom. Yeah. The crowd cheers and waves torches. For Dagon. One of your kidnappers cuts your ties in two, then lines you up. Your travel escort blends into the mob. Your instinct tells you that any wrong move could be your last. The three of you now face a huge pack of the finest specimen that Innsmouth has to offer. Oh, so all 3 of us are here. Okay. The glances of emotionless, bulging eyes rest on you, and then a monotonous chorus song rises from the swollen gray lips. Ia, Cthulhu Fadagen. Ia, Cthulhu Fadagen. After what feels like an eternity, the crowd splits. From its midst, a tall figure in a black robe emerges and slowly approaches you. The villagers look at it with awe. Time seems to stand still as the mysterious figure walks towards you. Ia, Cthulhu Fadagen. The villagers croak. Look at this guy. All spooky, can't even see his face. Probably another fish man. A stocky figure with a receding chin follows closely in the shadow of the mysterious stranger. You've seen many of his kind today. The hooded figure remains silent. Instead, his helper takes the floor. Ia, Cthulhu Fadagen. It echoes through the hall again. The swollen, milky eyes of the little man wandered over the assembled crowd, whose chants become quieter with each repetition. Ia. Brothers and sisters, the man begins to say. Dagon will be grateful for your coming in such large numbers today. Today's sacrifice is led by... The robe bearer behind him spreads his arms. Gary! Cthulhu Fool! A collective moan comes from the crowd. The robe figure drops his arms limply. His helper looks at him in disquiet, then limps back into the anonymity of the crowd. The hooded man puts his hands on his hips. Seriously, guys? Seriously? He lets the question linger for a bit. Do you think this attitude is helpful when trying to run this show? You think I enjoy this? Silence. Yeah, screw you, Gary. Good moderation is partly dependent on the audience. You pipe up. If no one is interested in the subject, even the best speaker in the world cannot succeed. As the murmur goes through the crowd, Gary turns to you and looks at you fascinated as if he's just noticed you for the first time. That? Thank you. He points to you. Precisely that. He looks over his shoulder towards the congregation. Because if you don't join in, we might as well all go home. From the corner of your eye, you can see that Kate is staring at you in disbelief. A few people from the mob roll their eyes, the rest let their heads hang in shame. Sorry, some of them murmur. Yeah, suggest that everybody goes home. Well, I really don't mind, you add. I have to work on Monday. High Priest Gary folds his hands. Nice try, buddy. But we have a deadline tonight. Deadline? Get it? Embarrassed laughs come from the mob. No. They can't be serious. No. One of your captors slightly slaps you around the back of the head. Let's go off, they're about to kill us. That's enough now, goddammit. Gary takes a step back, raising an arm to protect himself from your outburst. Neither the villagers nor your captors are making any effort to stop your anger. From the moment I set foot on this goddamn shithole at the ass end of the world, I've had nothing but patience for you disgusting, mutated scumbags. Then you kidnap me and drag me into the stupid grotto, and now on top of it all, you're gonna sacrifice me? You point to the abyss. And now you want to chuck me down the dumpster of hell. Gary makes an appeasing gesture and approaches you. Whoa, buddy. Nobody's being chucked anywhere. This isn't Dunwich. Am I right, folks? The villagers giggle at that. No. It's Dagon who decides what's going to happen to you. But why? Why are you doing all of this? And what's with this guy anyway? You add and point to figure half man, half car. The high priest folds his hands. I can assure you we have a good reason. Excellent reasons even. Only it's impossible to go into detail right now, this very evening. You won't make it easy for them. What is it you get out of doing this Dagon sacrifice routine anyway? The high priest laughs artificially and then turns around to the mob seeking confirmation. The mob is silent and looks skeptically up to the pedestal. Mouths open, frowns, mouths close again. Any insights? The high priest is silent. He's either getting angry or nervous. It's hard to say which of these should worry you more. Dagon provides us with unending wealth. I cannot see any proof of that. You look around over the people standing on the lower level. These disfigured creatures are mostly fishermen and farmers, or they earn their money with other menial jobs. Wealth? Is that supposed to be a joke? That one there? You point almost blindly at someone in the crowd. Doesn't even wear clothes. There's just a fishing net combined with bits of fabric. And that doesn't even cover the critical spots. Ugh! The people who were just standing around the man are now moving a few yards away from him, as if they were magnetic poles that had been suddenly reversed. One could almost feel sorry for the man in the fishnet clothes. His sad and swollen frog eyes look down at the ground. Oh yeah, let me give them a sermon. It's my turn to preach. Wealth? You kidnap people for wealth? What kind of god is that supposed to be? You want to know what I think? No. Kate presses out pleadingly between gritted teeth, but it's too late. Nothing can stop you now. You should all be thoroughly ashamed of yourselves. Complete silence. The high priest takes a step towards you and turns to Kate and Lonnie. We normally don't do this, but... Go ahead. Both say in unison. It's hard for you to decipher their expressions. What are you missing right now? The high priest gives you a good push. You fall headfirst into the abyss. Blackness. Fortunately, the impact on the water surface knocks you out. Your lungs fill up with water, and fortunately you don't even notice which orifice are penetrated by the tentacles of dark God who's been waiting for you in the depths of the sea. I just got tentacle porned. He put his gross slimy tentacles in my no-no places without my consent. Someone get human resources. Oh. Okay, that's the end of that chapter. You drown. Glug? Is Dagon an aquatic tentacle beast? Or did we get sacrificed to... Oh yeah, look at him. He looks kind of like... Well, at least in these renditions, he's not... Most of these, he's not an aquatic tentacle beast. He's more like ye old merman coming out of the water. Kind of like the creature from the Black Lagoon. Put up a picture, two of them side by side, so you can see the differences. Alright. I guess let's go for another round. I'm just gonna start it from the beginning again, just to see if we get anything new with, You know what? Time to go home. Oh, it just skips a lot of side stuff. Nope, we're not here. Freeze and hold your breath. No, 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 no. Nobody will ruin your well-deserved evening. You're as quiet as a mouse. You listen intently. The woman just outside the door knocks again. Pesky clients. I can see you through the window. Pretend to be a statue. This is messing with your evening's well-deserved relaxation. You're still not moving, so with a little luck, the stranger will give up and leave you alone. You hear the doorknob twist. Door handle is moving. You probably should have locked it. Hide under the desk. Not on your watch. With cat-like reflexes and speed you usually only reserve for eating chocolate cake, you dive under your desk. Your nose pressed against the worn office carpet. You really should clean up at some point. You hear someone enter the office. If you're trying to hide from your clients, you should make sure your big butt isn't sticking out of your hiding place. Idiot. Yo, we dummy thick? We got the dump truck? You hear her walk away. The door slams shut. She's gone. You did it. Not only can you finally go home, but you also found some small change and a half-empty tobacco pouch under the table. Today wasn't so bad after all. Look out of the window at the parking lot. A glamorous woman gets into a rental car and drives out of the parking lot at full throttle. You wonder what she wanted. Whatever it is, it'll have to wait till Monday. Finally, stretched out on your couch, a black and white mystery series flickers on the TV. The blood alcohol level has reached the pleasant point beyond no longer able to drive, but you're still well before everything that went in has to come out again. Next episode? The TV asks rhetorically. Sure, go ahead. Next episode. To serve men, you sigh. If only Supernatural would knock at your door. Sure as hell wouldn't miss that opportunity. Let's call it a day. Reject the mission. Adventure? Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, I had to do that. That seemed like it was a quick ending. You know what? Let's hitchhike this time. I still can't figure out a use for that golden fish hook, so... The Boston Park and Ride. Your fingers gently stroke the banknotes inside your coat. As you leave... Your fingers gently stroke the banknotes inside your coat as you leave your apartment at dawn. Only over your dead body will you waste this money for actual expenses. You've never had good experiences with public transportation, so you've decided to give hitchhiking a go. At least this time, At this time, you usually still roll around in bed, restlessly for another 2 hours or so. You're at a park and ride area, which is located at an intersection of 2 country roads. This is where students and low-income earners meet to share the fuel cost of a long trip. And you often see nomads and vagabonds trying to catch a free ride. You're confident you won't be put in the last category, at least not today. Low clouds hang in the Boston sky, and the air is gray, cold, and wet, and the progress of your mission depends on the charity and compassion of strangers. Your mood is optimistic, why not? You got a good feeling about this. The secret is to make a good impression so as not to scare away any potential opportunities. It's best to hide your true character until you're in the car. This is definitely going to work. You confidently say out loud. People close to you give you some worried looks. A little girl whose family has just parked their fully loaded van points wordlessly at you. Her mother takes note of you and turns up her mouth.
Look, Mom, a poor person.
The little one finally delivers her verdict cheerfully. Poor? That's really an exaggeration of facts. On top of that, rude. Threaten to beat her up? Oh yeah. That's a great one. Let's be one of those idiots that just can't ignore people. Your knees crack as you squat down in front of the little girl. You say, it's not as if I sometimes wouldn't like to lead a cushy, lazy, uncreative life like your parents. But if all of us were striving only for comfort and mediocrity in our lives, where would the art be? The adventure, the self-determination that takes some people to higher spheres. That makes them create works from which the rest of humanity benefits for centuries. The girl frowns. Her mother converses loudly with the father of the little one and no longer pays attention to you. You go on. Bro, you just gonna let some stranger talk to your kid like that? I mean, we're not wrong with what we said, but dang. The life I lead is not easy. Not at all. But working as a private detective is fulfilling. As soon as I have a few exciting cases, just like the one I have right now, I make a real difference. Reunite a little girl with her worried mother, bring a family together. You're searching for words. Your parents' lives, on the other hand, are pointless? No. I'm kind of a superhero. I'm actually kind of a superhero, and I don't want any thanks, just a little money when I've done my job well. And if not, then at least a refund of my expenses.
What are expenses?
The girl asks skeptically. Vital things I have to spend money on during my assignments, like travel, restaurants, and going to the cinema. The girl ponders this and finally puts a hand on her hip.
I am concerned that your romanticization of a precarious freelance work and your belief in creative genius has completely closed your eyes to the capitalist logic of exploitation and underpins both. As an individualistic freelancer, you're part of the impoverishment.
God, I lost the accent. We're starting over.
I am concerned that your romanticization of precarious freelance work and your belief in creative genius has completely closed your eyes to the capitalist logic of exploitation and that underpins both. As an individualistic freelancer, you're part of the impoverishment of the social fabric. Yo, this kid. Bro, she wears the pants in the family. Those parents are just her bank until she can get her own job. You're beginning to wonder why you're so desperately trying to justify your job to a little girl. This feels just like your annual phone conversation with your mother. It's time to consider the options. 3 of the hitchhikers have positioned themselves at the exit of the parking lot, a student couple, and a punk with a towel around his shoulders. Every now and then a car stops and the driver winds down the window and what? The windshield? What place calls it the windshield? Every now and then a car stops and the driver winds down the windshield to have a few words with them. You... Now, if we join them, they're probably going to try and kick us out of their spot. Let's position ourselves further away. You'll harm your chances as a hitchhiker if you stand too close to those people, you say to yourself while keeping your distance. The other people would just occupy the seats that you're after. Time to get to business. You stand at the edge of the exit of the parking lot and throw yourself into a provocative pose. Oh yeah. One leg sticking out of the trench coat, angled suggestively, your hand on your hip. That's how you present yourself to the passing cars. Fiery, but not easy. An uncut diamond on the roadside. The young couple looks over at you and their eyes widen. Admiration, you're quite certain. And a pinch of envy. You challenge their glances and move your leg back and forth. She slowly raises a hand and covers her mouth. He bites his lower lip softly. A horn pulls you back into reality. An old Volkswagen bus stops next to you. The car is sprinkled with peace symbols. The driver winds down his window and green smoke escapes the car. Hot moves. Wow. The driver laughs in a rough voice. You stare into the face of the modern hipster. Or is he a surfer bro after all? Hard to say. A complicated and at the same time messy man bun paired with a tasteless hippie shirt. Hesitantly, you examine the first option since forever. Oh, it's Lonnie? I'm Lonnie. The young man grins at you warmly. Oh, look at this dude. Bro, we need to get, hair over the bandana. Or, keep it out of your eyes. You wonder if he can actually see you through the wile of curls that still cover his face. Are you going to Innsmouth? Ha! Lonnie claps his hands on the side of the bus. Sure thing. My surfboard and me, we can't wait. Lonnie leans forward out of the window. The clouds of smoke rising behind him suggest that his seat is on fire. What's the deal, man? What's the deal? In or out, man? Good question. Join Lonnie. Yeah, come on. We just met him not too long ago. I'm in, you answer, and Lonnie's grin becomes even wider. Woohoo! Let's get going. You sprint around the bus. Lonnie has a... Is that supposed to be him speaking? I'll just read it as him. Woohoo! Let's get going! You sprint around the bus. Lonnie's already opened the passenger door. A few cans of orange lemonade clatter to the asphalt and drop in front of your shoes. You pause for a moment and take all the trash inside the minibus. It takes some serious commitment to mess up your car like that, and this guy was a real expert at being messy. You wonder where to put your briefcase. Between crumpled slips of paper, next to the rotten tomato plant in a storage room, on top of unwashed clothes behind the scenes. Slips of paper. That's probably the less disgusting, even though it's probably old wrappers. You stow away the bag and try to wipe off the transparent film of slime that now sticks to your hand. Lonnie makes a train driver arm gesture. Chee-chee! Let's roll! He pushes down the gas pedal and the bus starts moving. Nervously, you watch Lonnie play around with the control knob of his old car radio while you're approaching the junction. But maybe intentionally, maybe just by chance, the traffic light turns green just in time. The bus drives on at a steady pace, and the cars in front of you start moving just in time so Lonnie doesn't run into anyone. Cozy. Listen, we're in no place to talk. We being cheapos here, so let's just enjoy the ride. You sit back and relax. A turbine engine of a crashing airplane could fall on you at any moment, or you could choke on a piece of vegan chocolate. Life is too short to worry constantly. Lonnie's finally found a station with 90s punk rock that he likes. Time flies. Despite various distractions, some of which have to do with his therapy, Lonnie manages not to cause an accident and somehow seamlessly weaves into the other traffic. Day in the car is stuffy and makes you sleepy. For the first time in many months, you feel relaxed and you're sure that everything is going to be fine. If you give your best on this job, there's actually a chance you will find the girl, bag the money, and emerge as a hero of the story. Listen, we just said yes before we even discussed payment. You don't know if we're getting paid or not, man. So, what brings you to Innsmouth, man? Holiday? Lonnie tears you out from your dreams. Yeah, mention our mission. We're investigating a private matter. I'm supposed to find the little girl who ran away from home. At first, you're not quite sure whether you should be further distracting Lonnie from the traffic, but you have to admit that so far he's been exemplary with the traffic rules. You fish the little Polaroid photo out of your coat pocket and hold it up to him. Lonnie whistles. Wow, the little one has really huge eyes. Shouldn't be hard to find. Is that a disease or something? You knew it. You look more closely at the picture. The child does look strange, but Dahlia hadn't mentioned any illness. Wait, haven't I been calling her Delilah? Oh no. I don't think so, you mumble evasively. You wrote down your phone number on one of the countless pieces of paper lying around in the car. Lonnie promises to call if he finds Tabitha, but you assume he'll forget her as soon as he catches the sea breeze. Well, who knows? The more eyes, the better. Satisfied, you pocket the Polaroid photo. Where are you going to take the conversation next? Yeah, let's see where you're staying. Where are you staying? Lonnie makes a gesture to the back of the van. Where do you think? You don't need to look back there yourself. You remember the chaos very well. Park on the beach, surf all day, have a few drinks in the evening, and then all first news in the back of the van. It couldn't be cheaper. Indeed. You let yourself sink a little deeper into the upholstery. Slowly but steadily, the bus chugs through the countryside. Not the fastest, but definitely a cost-effective... Not the fastest, but definitely a cost-effective way to move around. And the best thing? Lonnie hasn't mentioned anything about sharing the gas money yet. You've hit the jackpot. With these blissful thoughts, you drift into a light sleep. At some point, the vehicle leaves the country road and turns near a wooden sign. It says, Innsmouth, written in big red letters which are slowly peeling off the sign. Your journey continues along a narrow and bumpy country lane with lots of potholes. In the distance, you can already make out a few houses. Seagulls are circling the roofs of the far side of the coastal town. You approach another wooden sign with the words Cars and Diversions scrawled on it messily. An arrow underneath points to the right. Cars on Diversions? The sign points away from the route that leads directly to Innsmouth, presumably a diversion. You're sure that the other board directly underneath with the words Other Routes actually points in the direction leading directly into town. Odd. Lonnie's already indicating that he wants to turn into the diversion lane. Nah, you got it, bro. No way, Jose, I'm here to chill. Seafront, here we come. Lonnie switches off the turn signal and continues to follow the direct route into town. How strange. Your van drives past a huge scrapyard. Parking lot? All the way out here in the middle of nowhere, so far out from the actual town, past another wooden sign in flaked off letters that tells you this is supposed to be the Innsmouth Park and Rest area. A lot of cars give off the impression that they've been parked here for a long time, potentially years. Fine sand has covered the bonnets and windscreens. Is this how they used to talk back in the day? They called a windshield a windscreen? Fine sand has covered the bonnets and windscreens. Fallen leaves gather next to the deflated tires. Some of the cars have started going rusty. The minivan continues along the road, passing the first small old house. The change from the county road to uneven brick road only minimally improves the journey, except Lonnie, who seems delighted. Dude! He shouts enthusiastically. He puts a heavy metal CD into the CD player and turns the volume all the way up to 11. He starts headbanging, of course. That's the only option. If you're gonna have those crazy bumpy roads, just headbang to it. Hopefully you don't hit the steering wheel. The CD player is struggling mightily with the brick road and interrupts the music every other beat to buffer for at least 5 seconds. Lonnie doesn't seem fazed by this. You're pretty sure this is what hell must be like. The endless fields and meadows have turned into much narrower alleys. Is this a one-way street, do you think? You almost wish for an oncoming car. Anything really that would force the car to stop the CD player would have... You almost wish for an oncoming car. Anything really that would force this car to stop so that the CD player would have a chance to play its music for just a little bit longer. But no luck. No oncoming traffic in sight anyway. As you look around, your first impression is one of surprisingly idle. Yeah, idle. Innsmouth is an old town, even by New England standards. Many houses seem to be from the 19th century, but are in good condition. Or they've at least received a new lick of paint not too long ago. It's just that the roads are now worryingly narrow. Your side mirrors have been scraping along the brick walls, and you think it's really impressive that Lonnie's bus isn't getting seriously damaged by any of this.
Whoa, how close was that?
He says after scraping around the corner.
Man, I've got real bus surfing skills.
Lonnie's enthusiastic voice repeatedly cuts through the white noise that is settled in your brain. Together, you and your brain decide to jump out of the driving car at the next best opportunity. With quick steps, you make your way into the town center in the direction of the coastline. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. The air feels heavier and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. Time to think about where you want to go. You slow down. Leaning your briefcase against the wall, you start pacing along a quiet alleyway. You've got important chores to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of the old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square. Here you should find the police station, the main shopping street, and of course the town hall. As a coastal town, Innsmouth of course also has a harbor. During your research, you found out that this is a busy area which includes a dreamy beach. You expect there to be mostly tourists. The old town, according to your research, has the only hotel in town, the Gilman Hotel. You could decide to check in and freshen up, just when you want to set off your heart leaps into your throat. Where a moment ago your briefcase was leaning against the wall, now is nothing. Disturbed, you walk up and down the street, peer into alleyways and over a fence, but there's no one in sight. Did you actually bring your briefcase and put it down here? Or are you going mad? At least you can take comfort in the idea that the thief will be surprised by what he will find when he opens the briefcase. Quite a lot of scrunched up underwear. A piece of paper with numbers but no names on them. You think you can cope with the loss of your briefcase. Luckily that you didn't take anything actually useful or valuable on your trip. You check the alley one last time. Apart from a pair of moving curtains on one of the windows, you don't notice any clues that could lead you to the culprit. It doesn't matter now. It's important that you keep moving. There are only a few hours left until the sun goes down. The first thing you visit is... let's go straight to the Gilman. Oh, look at that little weirdo statue. You've actually made it to Innsmouth. Time to find out what secrets this place is holding. Like so often in the beginning of an investigation, you're a little bit excited. Your gut feeling tells you that you'll be here for more than one night, so you need a safe place to stay. And room service charges are usually very easy to hide in an expense report. Even from this distance, you can already see the pointed roofs of the hotel, which was rated on the internet as the best hotel in the state. Rest assured by the reliability of those online reviews, you head south to the old town. Walking along the increasingly uneven paved path, you begin to notice some strange statues. As you keep walking, it feels as if these strange fish and sea creatures begin to surround you. None of this was in the online reviews. You start feeling uneasy. Perhaps it's because these figures are so lifelike, or because they're much higher up and far above eye level, they menacingly tower over any passerby. You can't help but to feel watched. Oh yeah, we're being watched, we're gonna get sacrificed by one of these statues. What a rocky start to your journey. What at first glance appeared to be an idyllic park, on closer inspection turns out to be littered with stone totems, observing your every step. In the distance, you can see a stray dog gnawing on a dead bird. At least the pulpy mass does somewhat look like a bird. In the background, the sound of seagulls screeching, resembling a static noise. A sign with the hardly legible inscription, Gilman Hotel, points to a staircase overgrown with ivy. Suddenly, a smell rises up your nostrils that strongly reminds you of your old school days. "Sup?" a young voice asks. Hello? Oh, these kids look relatively normal, except the head cultist? Is that Gary? Gary, what you doing outside with your hood down? During your initial survey of the surroundings, you manage to miss 3 figures standing on the stairs in front of you. In this very unusual city, a very typical picture presents itself. Loitering teenagers. The girl who just talked to you is leaning against the railing. Her hands are dug deep into her pockets of her hoodie, and her jet black dyed hair only half covers her pimply face. A step above her in the staircase is another girl who must have used the same hair dye as her friend. She either hasn't noticed you or simply isn't interested in anything taking place outside of her phone screen. Right in front of you is a small, spindly boy who looks much younger than the other two. He stands out from the others for another reason. His very peculiar style. Yeah, he looks like a lich. A shock of platinum blonde, almost white hair stands out in all directions and could offer a comfortable home to a family of birds. His clothes are rather atypical for his age. A dirty mud green shirt, at least 2 sizes too big. This idiocentric look is rounded off by pinstripe trousers with suspenders hanging down on the sides, and a kind of frock on top of it all. This coat appears to be of higher quality than the rest of his clothes, with golden embroidery adorning his heavy velvet. The strange boy looks at you with big, bright gray eyes. His whole body seems to be trembling as if plagued by electric shocks. For some reason, he now leans over to sniff you. Hey, cut the crap. You snap at the boy when he sniffs at your trench coat. Stupid kids. You slap his hands and he hisses at you and runs off into the undergrowth. Confused, you look at the older girl. Yeah, that's just Larry, she says by the way of explanation. Okay, Larry, and you are? I'm Liz. This is Henrietta. The goth Liz points with her thumb to the girl next to her, making contact with aliens. Successful. And they even talk English. You ponder whether to spend some of your valuable time with the kids. Yeah, let's ask these teens. They're probably not interested, but... Show the picture tab to Liz. The girl's eyes widen. Whoa, dude. Gross. Super ugly. Whoa, Liz. Pot, kettle, black. You know what puberty can do? Do you know her? Oh, you know what puberty can do. Do you know her? She's gone missing. Hey, I don't know all the kids in this town. Ah, you've really missed puberty and its unpredictable mood swings. She's disappeared and may be in danger. You may feel too cool and hip to care, but this is a serious matter. And anyway, nothing is more hip than sharing information with a private investigator. Liz scrunches up her face. It's almost as if in pain. She seems to consider how much social status she's losing simply because she's talking to someone who uses words like cool and hip. Your skillful torture methods work. Well, I think it would be smashing if you could... Oh, okay, it's just him fucking dicking around. Well, I think it would be smashing if you could help me out. Really radical. Liz simply can't take any more of your youth speak and caves in. Hey man, lots of people go missing here. Chill. Liz offers you her cigarette. Nah, I think we've already inhaled enough weed from Lonnie's Volkswagen. Thanks, but I really need to solve this case. Liz disapproves. You've got to cut yourself loose from the restraints of the man. She points to the lighthouse in the distance. Or perhaps the moon? They're in charge of everything. We're only puppets in their sick power games. They fogged up the people's heads with their smoke screens. They're after us and our brains, and people line up like lemmings. But I'm too smart for this. I'm not one of the sheep who will show up for the slaughter voluntarily. Like the mayor. Man, the adults here have no clue. They're all puppets, especially my dad. He doesn't get my vibe. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. You've seen conspiracy theory videos that were more plausible. You awkwardly rub your neck while Liz looks at you, satisfied and somewhat grateful. It's tragic to witness how a young person's brain is wrecked by drugs. You think to yourself, you should set a few things straight. Look, kiddo, weed, anime, and hip-hop, they're all riding your brain. My recommendation, stay in school. You don't have to face for a modeling career no matter what mommy says. Rude. The pimples could go away. Also, anime, great for your brain. Unless it's tentacle porn. Liz is visibly peeved, and with that, your conversation has run out of steam. Liz goes off into another rant about brains and sheep, and you turn to Henrietta to show her the Polaroid picture. You place it on top of a phone screen. Do you know this girl? Evelyn? She says without emotion. You attempted to call that a success. Her name is Tabitha. Have you seen her? No. She still hasn't looked up. She moves to the side a little so that she can continue looking at her phone. She ignores you. Yeah, let's take that phone. She definitely knows something. You've got no time for stupid teenagers and their attitudes. Determined, you grab Henrietta's phone and take it away from her. Listen up, Missy. A little girl is missing, and unless you're going to answer my questions, you're not getting your little toy back. Understood? Hey, not cool. Liz tries to intervene from behind you. Henrietta has remained in the same position, still staring into her empty hand. You can practically see how she's slowly grasping her loss. Head begins to turn slightly.